Charles Manson, one of the most infamous figures in American history, remains synonymous with cult leadership, manipulation, and murder. To understand his story, we must delve into his troubled upbringing, his rise to infamy in the 1960s, and the horrifying crimes that shocked the world. Charles Miles Manson was born on November 12, 1934, in Cincinnati, Ohio, to Kathleen Maddox, a 16-year-old single mother. His early life was marred by neglect, instability, and crime. Kathleen, an alcoholic and petty criminal, was often absent, leaving Manson to fend for himself. By the time he was a teenager, he had already been in and out of reform schools and juvenile detention centers for theft and other petty crimes. His criminal tendencies escalated, leading to a string of arrests for burglary, forgery, and pimping. By his early 20s, Manson had spent much of his life in correctional facilities. While incarcerated, he studied self-help techniques, Dale Carnegie's principles on influencing people, and even dabbled in Scientology. These would later inform his methods of manipulation. Manson was released from prison in 1967 during the height of the counterculture movement. Settling in San Francisco, he began to attract a following, primarily of young, disillusioned women, whom he manipulated using a mix of charm, drugs, and apocalyptic rhetoric. Manson envisioned himself as a messianic figure, claiming to be both Jesus Christ and the devil. The group, later known as the Manson Family, moved to the Spahn Ranch, an old movie set outside Los Angeles. Here, they lived communally, indulging in free love, psychedelic drugs, and Manson's twisted sermons about an impending racial apocalypse he called Helter, Skelter, a term he derived from a song by the Beatles. Manson's delusions turned deadly in 1969. Believing he could incite Helter Skelter and blaming the music industry for his failed attempts at becoming a rock star, Manson directed his followers to commit murders to send a message. On August 8th to 9th, 1969, Manson ordered his followers, Tex Watson, Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, and Linda Kasabian, to the home of actress Sharon Tate and her husband, director Roman Polanski. Tate, 8 months pregnant, was brutally murdered, along with 4 others, including coffee heiress Abigail Folger and celebrity hairstylist Jay Sebring. The following night, the group killed supermarket executive Tate-LaBianca and his wife Rosemary, leaving cryptic messages like "Death to pigs" written in blood at the crime scenes. The brutality of the murders terrified the nation, and the police were initially baffled. However, arrests for unrelated crimes at Spahn Ranch led to confessions from family members. Manson and several followers were charged in late 1969. The trial, which began in 1970, was a media spectacle. Manson's erratic behavior, his carved swastika on his forehead, and his followers' eerie devotion captivated the public. The prosecution, led by Vincent Bugliosi, argued that Manson had brainwashed his followers to carry out his deadly vision. Manson and several accomplices were convicted of first-degree murder in 1971 and sentenced to death, later commuted to life imprisonment after California abolished the death penalty. Manson spent the rest of his life in prison, where he continued to attract a morbid fascination. He granted occasional interviews, showcasing his manipulative and erratic nature. Despite his incarceration, Manson inspired songs, movies, and conspiracy theories, cementing his place in the annals of American pop culture. On November 19, 2017, Charles Manson died of natural causes at the age of 83. His legacy remains a grim reminder of the destructive power of charisma and manipulation. Charles Manson was a product of his time and circumstances, a charismatic manipulator who exploited the vulnerabilities of his followers to commit heinous acts. His story is a cautionary tale of how societal disillusionment, unchecked charisma, and distorted ideology can culminate in tragedy.